Hey class, it's Mr. Baker here. I just wanted to give you a brief tutorial on the STAR A test. Many of you have had an ARG meeting in which it has decided that you can take the STAR A test. This is the on-the-computer version of the STAR algebra test, as well as in English and biology and whatever other tests you may be taking this year. So there is a tutorial online. You'll be taking this sometime in the next couple of months before we get ready for the STAR test here in the Counselor Center. I wanted to give you a heads up though before then, so you can kind of apply some of the strategies we've been talking about in class to the test in the format you'll be taking it. So what you're going to do is go to Google and do a search for the STAR, that's two A's, A student tutorial. All right. When that comes up, any of these really would go to it. You don't want the STAR L, so be careful not to take that one. We'll go to this first one here. It'll take us to STAR A resources. And we're going to go down to the student tutorial right here. And we're going to take the EOC, which stands for end of course. It's the tutorial for the high school courses. Again, that's Algebra 1, English 1 for all of you. And if you're taking biology this year, you'll be taking the biology STAR exam as well in May. This will open up a new window here. You can see you have to allow it to access Java in order to run. When it does come up, it'll load up the tutorial program. I'll give it a couple of seconds here. Alright, and as you will see in just a few minutes here, you can apply many of the same strategies we've been using about highlighting and marking up your test to working on the computer. Alright, this is the program. As you can see, it has the STAR logo on there, same as the normal test would have. We do have some options up here. This will become, there'll be more than a mouse in just a few minutes here as we get started. There is a chance for you to exit. When you exit, it will ask you if you want to return to the test, if you want to save and come back later, or if you're all done with the test. Okay, I'm going to return to the test. Okay, down here we have some flags. We'll get to that in just a few minutes, about how we can mark questions for review. We'll come back to the section review later as well. This tells us where we're at. We're in the introduction. And we have a next and a previous button here. These are you will use to go between questions, the next question or the previous questions. Right now I'm going to hit next and look at the first page of the test. Just as in the paper version, we have our STAR Algebra 1 reference materials. All right. These are the same equations we have in the paper version, and they'll be the equations you use to answer the questions on the STAR test. On page 2, I have the second page of the reference materials for the formulas for geometric identities and things like that. I can always go back to the previous page again by hitting previous and go on to the next page by hitting next. I have my page of graph paper, and I have the stop, do not continue until you are instructed to do so. This will pop up between sections on the STAR test, and when there's a stop sign, stop. Okay, continuing on, I can see that a review screen which shows me what I just went through. Now this review screen will be very useful as we go through the sections of the test, as I'll show you in just a few minutes. Right now I'm going to continue to the test overview. The student tutorial gives you a little bit of some space here to preview different kinds of tests. So again, in algebra, biology, US history, and English 1 and 2. For right now we're going to look just at algebra 1. Okay. There's only 2 sample questions in the algebra 1 tutorial, but I think it's enough to give us an idea of what we're looking at here. A few features here I want to point out. Along the top now, we don't only have the mouse pointer, we also have a few other icons you can see up here. And if you scroll over, it'll explain to you what it is. So the pointer, the eliminate a choice, highlighter, eraser, pencil, lines, dots, notepad, calculator, exhibits, and a help button. The help button is an all general purpose button you can hit if you don't know what you're doing. When you are taking the STAR test, you will have an administrator in the classroom where you're taking the STAR A, and you can ask them questions at any point you like, and they can come help you. Okay, so let's take a look at what these do in more detail. This is an example of a question dealing with algebra, and it has, you can see, a free response. So we're going to type in our answer instead of selecting multiple choice questions. So what we're going to do is we can see we have a highlighter here, so we could highlight what we need to, and we'll go over in class how to use a highlighter best on tests. But let's say I'm looking through here and I might highlight 20 boxes of hats. All right, so you're going to highlight maybe the function. You can highlight different things, and all I'm doing is clicking and dragging the highlighter across to where I need to. All right. I also have an eraser in case I decide later on I don't want that highlighter there. I can erase it. I have a pencil. Notice the pencil is not for taking notes. This pencil only will write up to a certain number of lines. This is for marking up your question or your answer choices. So I might want to circle things with my pencil. I might want to underline things, okay, as we go through. I do have a line. I can draw lines on the test in case I want to underline things. All right. How many fewer hats? I can underline that. I have points, okay, in case I want to, let's see, maybe I want to erase that one. I want to put a point next to each of my equations so they stand out better. I don't know, something like that, okay? We also have a notepad will pop up, and you can type whatever you like here as you're taking notes. We have the graphing calculator. Now the default choice on the STAR test is going to be the TI-84, which we do not use at Judson High School. You might be familiar with it from middle school, and there will be a handheld TI Inspire as you take the test as well. So in addition to this one, you also have the Inspire. And the exhibits here pulls up your formulas, your reference sheets, and your graph paper. Now you can combine these. So if you're on your formula sheet, you could highlight something if you wanted to. All right, I could highlight my formula. I could write. I could circle something, right? And I can come back and erase these things. I can even on my graph paper, I can create. I can do a capped line maybe and make a graph between two different points. Okay, and label that maybe. This is the distance. So you have lots of options here to kind of figure out how you're working with these things. I can close that, continue working my problem. Right? I'm not going to go ahead and solve this problem. I'm just kind of showing some of the accessibility options you have while you're taking the test. Again, you go onto your pointer so you can continue. And the last thing I'll show on this question is the flag for review option. Let's say I go through this problem. I'm not really sure what the answer is, and I want to mark it so I know I want to come back to this later. I can flag this question for review, and this will put a flag right on the bottom. You'll see there's a flag on question number 1. Okay? That way, when I'm going through my test, I can easily at a glance look down here and see which questions I marked. Let's go on to the next question. Actually, before I do that, I want to make note of one more thing that's on this question. You'll notice over here on the right side is this little icon right here, and this is a pretty cool little thing for you guys to help with reading comprehension, especially with you students who have difficulties reading. You can click on this, and it pops up this little green box that rewrites the question in a bullet format. Okay, it makes it a lot more easier to comprehend and understand what's going on here without changing that math involved in the question. So this is designed to help you. Whereas the paragraph here might be difficult to understand, it might be kind of blocky and dense, full of words. You can create, you can pull up the bulleted version to kind of help comprehension there. All right. Okay, on to the next question. Here I want to kind of demonstrate the accessibility panel here. You'll notice it's always on the screen, and you can move it around wherever you want. And the accessibility panel, you can minimize it too. Just click that arrow. It contains 4 options. Now this accessibility panel is going to be on the entire test, every STAR test, algebra, English, biology, U.S. history, all of them. And the 4 options are always the same. So the first one is text to speech. I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear this, but I'll turn the volume up maybe. You can change the volume around. But if I press play, it'll read the question to me in a computer voice.
What is the equation in standard form of the line that passes through the point 124 and has a slope of negative 0.6?
There we go. So I can make it play faster if I...
What is the equation in standard form of the line that passes through the point?
Or I can make it read slower if I like.
What is the equation in standard form of the line that passes?
Okay. You can also, if you click on this one here, make it go from, by default it reads the entire thing starting at the beginning. You can make it only read out loud what you want it to. So you can click on the sentence that you wanted to read. I wanted to read this answer choice.
3x plus 5y equals 125.
Okay? Or I can even make it so it only reads the word I want it to. So I'm not sure what is this word here.
Equation.
Ah, equation. Very good. Okay. So there's a few different options there. On the zoom, this is an option to zoom in on the page in case the font is too small for you to see very clearly. You can zoom in and drag it around, drag the screen around with this hand in order to help you better see the options here. Okay. The color and contrast option is useful for students who like to use color overlays to make it easier to comprehend, make it easier to see the text and different numbers, make them stand out a little bit better. You can choose from any kind of overlay here, different colors they have option, and use that on the test. And the last one is the place marker. This is just a yellow highlighter line that you can move up and down. You can drag it around. It kind of helps with being able to see exactly where you are and keep track, especially when you're reading on the English text or things like that. So that's the accessibility panel. Okay. Now this question, again, you'll notice that there's something peculiar about this question. It has the entire thing is underlined in blue. Now many questions will have only parts of it that are underlined in blue, and if you click on that, it'll pop up a little useful reminder. So this is pretty cool. This takes 3 of the equations directly from our reference sheet. And it's taking it from right here, and it's putting it on the page where you're going to use it. So instead of having to flip back to the first page and figure out what slopes you're using, the star egg gives you the formulas right on the exact question that you would use it. This is a very nice option. It'll give you a little bit of a leg up on the students who are taking the paper version. Okay, now I'm looking for the standard form. So I click on this and it gives me, it doesn't exactly tell me the formula, but it gives me the part that's relevant. Right, the standard form is right there. Okay. All right. The last thing I'll show you real quick is the section review. Down here, I said I mentioned I'd look at it before. We're going to look at the section review, and at a glance, I can look through the entire section I'm on. Again, this is only 2 questions because this is a tutorial sample, but on the real test, you'd have all your questions on this section, and you can go back in between. So if I'm on question number 36, say, and I want to go back to question number 2, I can immediately just click on question number 2 and go straight there. And then if I want to go back to question 24, because I can see down here that question 24 is flagged, I can get there easily by clicking on my section review and then going to question number 24. Okay? It also tells me whether they're marked for review, whether I answered it or not, and if I'm unanswered. Okay, and I can click on, I only want to see the ones I flagged. I only want to see the ones I have not answered yet. So there's some pretty cool little options here on the calculator. On the computer version of the test. So I'm going to go to question 2, and we're going to use this option I haven't used yet with the eliminate answer choices. So if I don't know what the answer choice is, but I'm pretty sure it's not D, I can cross it out, all right, just by using this tool. So that's a pretty cool option as well. And if I leave it there and I go back to a different question, and I come back, okay, you'll notice everything is left the same way that I left it. So all my highlightings are there, my markings are there. If I come back to question number 2, the answer choice I crossed off is still there. I'm actually pretty excited for the Star A version of the test. This is pretty cool what they've done and are enabling you guys to be able to have better success with the test. I know you might struggle with the paper version. This computer version is pretty cool stuff. That's it pretty much. Get to the stop sign. Tells me my review again. And you can get on here anytime. You can look it up from home. This is the same tutorial you'll be taking at the counselor's office here in a couple months. You can get a little bit of practice before you come if you like. And yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm glad to help you succeed on the test. That's it for now. Till next time, this is Mr. Baker. Thank you.